Hi, this is Cheryl back with you from Farmhouse, Frugally. Thanks for joining me. Today I am in a challenge with these three lovely ladies, and we are doing a challenge for summer. So right away, I have had this cute little bike in my possession for many, many, many years, and I decided it is time to give it a little makeover. I would have liked to spray paint the entire bike, but because it moves and I just didn't want to ruin the mechanism that makes it actually move. So I have this custom pale green color paint that I had made, and it was just in my stash. So I decided to simply paint the wooden seat and the wooden handlebars in this pretty light green color to begin with. And then once I was waiting for the paint to dry, it did take 2 coats of this, and this is a latex bear paint, and I had mixed a darker color and added some white to it to get this color. I had gone to the Dollar Tree and picked up this little black basket. I pulled out some fabric from my stash that had some of that green in it, and I just tore a square from that so that I could line the basket first with this fabric. And then I went and got a little piece of floral foam and cut that into a circle and put that into the basket. Then I went into my stash to see what I had for some greenery, and I had this pretty boxwood plant. So I just snipped off a couple of those and stuck those into the floral foam, and then got some green, it's not Spanish moss, I forget the name of the green moss off the top of my head, but I just added some moss here and there just so that you couldn't see the floral foam. And then I pulled out some little white flowers. A lot of my florals are put away, but I did have some of these in my right at hand. So I pulled out some little white flowers, and then and they came from the Dollar Tree once upon a time, I believe, and I just snipped them off of the base and added them into the little basket. And then once I had that done, I wanted to do just a cute little tag or sign or something to add to it. But first I had to figure out how to attach the little basket to the front of the bike. So I used these little zip tie things that come for computers and just went around the 2 wire pieces under the handlebars and into the basket, pulled that with some pliers, and then snipped it off. I ended up having to pull out the florals in the basket and then put it back in again, and actually this took far more time than I am showing you here. There might have been an easier way to do this. But anyways, once I got that together, then I just created a little sign to go into the basket with literally a piece of cardboard tag that I had, and a little this little green flower I had in my scrapbooking stuff that was close at hand. I just glued that on top of the tag and then added a little wooden skewer from the Dollar Tree so that I could snip that off at the top and then stick the pointed end into the foam just to add a little something to this little basket. And that is my little remake of this old primitive bicycle into something a little bit more summery, and it actually matches the garden caddy that I had made a couple weeks ago, which I didn't realize until I put the two together, so thought that looked really sweet. So you'll have to let me know if you like the bike in the summer colors or if you had preferred it primitive. That takes me on to number 2, which was a really simple flip. This cute wooden bunny I got at my dump, believe it or not. Somebody left it on the good table. And it had that raffia bow and the little carrots. So I just took that off of the neck because that's just not really my style. Took the heat gun to the glue and removed that glue. And then I just took him down to my garage and took a heavy grit sandpaper first of all to get the bulk of the paint off, and then I switched over to a 220 grit to go ahead and make that just a lot smoother, so that it would be, nice and smooth on the edges. But I did want to keep a fair amount of the paint on the bunny. I didn't want to completely sand him. For some reason, he had kind of a bluish outline on the edges, and then I took my mix of dark and clear wax together and just went ahead and rubbed that all over the entire bunny, and then buffed it back with a rag just to give it that more vintage feel that I like for my home. I have a number of bunnies in my home. I absolutely love decorating for bunnies, especially for spring and summer. And I thought I probably should have put a little ribbon around his neck or done something a little more to dress him up. But honestly, I really just sometimes like something very basic and very simple. So really that is all that I did. And I had this other little bunny to put with him, so I thought that was cute. And that really was the most simple of the flips today. But I thought that it was cute, and just really wanted to do something with it and get it out into my home to use him while it was still spring and summer. So that takes me on to my third item, and I want to make sure that you remember to check the playlist for all the other creators in this challenge when you're finished watching this. This one is my favorite, I believe, today. I had this white, I think I picked this up at Hobby Lobby, and it had carrots in it in the back of the truck, and it said Happy Easter, and it was like $1 or $2 over there because it was after the season. And I was gonna do something with it and keep the truck, and then at the end of the day I was like, you know what, I'm never gonna do anything with this. I'm gonna just paint right over it. And so I decided that I wanted to paint the base black. I have a lot of IOD scraps left over, the transfers from an IOD transfer pack that I had bought probably 1.5 2 years ago now, with all the florals in it. I think it might be retired. And so I generally use white and put the transfers on white, which I love, but I just really wanted to do one on black. I've been wanting to do this for a while. So I ended up having to give this 2 coats just to make sure that the truck did not come through. And I pulled out, and this is what I had left. I had some peonies, I had some white roses, I had some of the purple lavender, and 1 sunflower. So I just took bits and pieces of what I thought would be nice to lay out a garden. And I started with the purple lavender in the background and just rubbed those few on. I kept a couple for another project in the future, but I thought that this would be a good background. And then I wanted to take just a piece, just one of the roses. And this is what I love about IOD transfers, any transfers, is the ability to cut them and use them the way that you want them, making your own one-of-a-kind picture. You can certainly just take the entire sheet and just lay it down on a project and use it as it is. But the nice thing is when you can really make it custom. So I thought that it would be really nice to just make something that nobody else has. So I added the white rose off to the side, and then the 1 sunflower that I had left. Now, sometimes you don't have a stem, or you don't have any leaves or whatever, or the placement of it just lends itself to a different location. So it doesn't have to be, on a stem with the leaves. It can just be any way that you want it to be. So that's really what I'm doing here, is just I had that piece that was left over on the edge and I didn't want to waste it. So I thought, why not add just the little pieces of petals that I, cut off, and just make it look like there's another flower beside it. And then I just added some leaves to that other piece of stem that I had added, because I didn't have a stem for the peonies. And again, cut a piece of peony off the edge. You can fold it over, but I don't like to waste them, so I decided to just cut that off. And then once I was finished getting the peony on that, I just took that little piece of pink peony part and I did the same thing. I'll make it look like there's just a little bit left over on top of the sunflowers. And I will spray this with a clear coat once it's nice out. And that was all there was to it. But I would love to know what you think about this IOD transfer on black. I really love the way that the colors pop off of the black, and it just really looks great on my black hutch. So that was something for me that is summer, but with a little bit of a twist. I generally don't think of black when I think of summer. Then, speaking of black, I had this basket that came on the good table at the dump this week, and of course it has snowflakes on it. So not wanting that for Christmas or for winter time, I decided to go ahead and just take I think this is Waverly chalk paint. Anyway, it's like just a black or an ink color to paint over each of those snowflakes. And then once I covered all of those snowflakes, I just wanted to keep the basket very basic and simple as it is. You could certainly add a piece of fabric or some twine or, put words in there. I mean, you could put pictures, you could do anything in there, but I wanted to keep it very basic. And I have these adorable little strawberries that I had picked up somewhere along the line. I do not really remember where I got them from, but they don't have any seeds on them. So I decided that I would just take the end of my paintbrush and just kind of dip it in the black and just add some seeds. And while those were drying, I just added a piece of floral foam and some more of the green moss. And then I just went ahead and laid them into the moss, and then decided that I would like a little hang tag. Fabric would have been adorable, hang tag, anything that you want to dress this up. I could have put a little stake in there that said, berries 5 cents or something like that. But instead, I just decided to go in and see what I knew I had printed off a strawberry on some rice paper once upon a time. So I had this tag left over from some clothing item that I bought, and I thought, oh, that would make a great a great base. So I went ahead and pulled out some sheet music, a small piece of rice paper that had just a little bit of sheet music on it, and I just decoupaged that for a background on top of the clothing stamp, and then found the strawberry that I had on rice paper and just cut it out. And then I added the strawberry on top of the sheet music just for a little something different. And then once that was dry, I just went ahead and cut that out and added a ribbon to it. I did coat the entire thing with Mod Podge to keep it stiff and to keep the paper down and from curling. And that was all that I did to that. I added that to the basket, and that was it. So that is how that came out. Again, I like the black. I love the black against my hutch, and very sweet for summer and a little bit different from what other people are doing. So I would love to know what you think of this. Please subscribe if you haven't already. I'd love for a comment to let me know what it is you liked about this video and what you'd like to see in future videos. And again, please do not forget to check the playlist for the other ladies that have joined in to this challenge. Thanks for stopping by. I'll see you in the next one. Take care.